안녕하세요. 땡큐 할배톡에 오신 것을 환영합니다. 오늘은 2024년 3월 9일입니다. 오늘도 역시 테드 강의 남기를 시작하겠습니다. 벌써 10번째네요. 오늘의 제목은 My Simple Invention. What's the fastest growing threat to American health? Cancer, heart attack, diabetes? The answer is actually none of these. It's Alzheimer's disease. Every 67 seconds, someone in the United States is diagnosed with Alzheimer's. As the number of Alzheimer's patients tripled by the year 2050, caring for them as well as the rest of aging peoples. My family had experienced first-hand struggle of caring for a Alzheimer's patient. Growing up in family with 3 generations, I've been always very close to my grandfathers. My grandfather and I were walking in the park in Japan when he suddenly got lost. It was one of the scariest moments that I ever experienced in my life, and it was a first instance that informed us my grandfather had Alzheimer's disease. Over the past 12 years, his condition got worse and worse, and his wandering in particular caused my family a lot of stress. My aunt, his primary caregivers, struggled to stay awake at night to keep an eye on him, and then often failed to catch him leaving the bed. So I became concerned about my aunt's well-being, and as well as my grandfather's safety. So I searched extensively for a solution that could help my family's problem, but I couldn't find anyone. Then one night, about 2 years ago, I was looking after my grandfather, and I saw him stepping out of the bed. The moment he stepped onto the floors, I thought, why don't I put a pressure sensor on the heel of his foot? Once he stepped upon the floors, the pressure sensor would detect an increase in pressure caused by body weight, and wirelessly send an audible alert to caregiver's smartphone. That way, my aunt could sleep much better at night without having to worry about my grandfather's wandering. So I'd like to perform a demonstration with this thought. Could I have please my sound model on the stage? Great. Once the patient stepped onto the floors, and an alert is sent to caregiver's smartphone. Thank you, sound model. This is a drawing of my preliminary design. My desire to create sensor-based technology perhaps stemmed from my lifelong love for sensor and technology. When I was 6 years old, a elderly family friend fell down in the bathroom and suffered severe injury. I became concerned about my own grandfather and I decided to invent a smart bathroom system. Motion sensor was installed in, inside of tiles of bathroom floors to detect the pulse of elderly persons whenever they fell down in the bathroom. Since I was only 6 years old at the time and I didn't graduate from kindergarten yet, I didn't have necessary resources and tools to translate my idea into reality. But nonetheless, my research experience really implanted in me a firm desire to use to help the elderly person. I really believe the sensor can improve the quality of lives of the elderly. When I laid out my plans, I realized that my project was actually much harder to improve, to realize than I initially had thought it to be. Sorry. When I laid out my plans, I realized that I faced three main challenges. First, creating a sensor. Second, designing a circuit. And third, coding a smartphone app. That made me realize that my project was actually much harder to realize than I initially had thought it to be. First, I had to create wearable sensors that was thin and flexible enough to be worn comfortable on the patient's foot. After extensive research and testing of different materials like rubbers, which I realized was too thick to be worn snugly on the patient's foot, I decided to print film sensors with electrically conductive pressure-sensitive ink particles. Once the pressure is applied, the connectivity between particles increases. Therefore, I could design a circuit that would measure pressure by measuring electrical resistance. Next, I had to design wearable wireless circuit. But wireless signal transmission consumes lots of power and requires heavy bulky batteries. Thankfully, I was able to find out about the Bluetooth low energy technology, which consumes very little power and can be driven by a cone-sized batteries. This prevented the system from dying in the middle of the night. Lastly, I had to code a smartphone app which was essentially transformed the caregiver's smartphone into remote monitor. For this, I had to expand upon my knowledge of coding with Java and Xcode. and I had to learn about how to code the Bluetooth low energy device with watching YouTube tutorials and reading various textbooks. Integrating this component, I was able to successfully create two prototypes, one in which sensors were embedded inside a sub, and another that's a reattachable sensor assembly that can be adhered anywhere that makes contact with the bottom of patient foot. I've tested the device on my grandfather for about a year now, and it had a 100% success rate in detecting over the 900 known cases of his wandering. Last summer I was able to beta test at several residential care facility in California, and I'm currently incorporating the feedbacks to further improve the device into marketable product. Testing the device on a number of patients made me realize that I needed to invent a solution for people who didn't want to wear a sock to sleep at night. Sensor data collected on a vast number of patients can be useful for improving patient care and leading to a cure for disease, possibly. For example, I'm currently examining the correlation between the patient's nightly wandering and his or her daily activity and the diet. One thing I never forget is when my device first caught my grandfather's wandering at night out of bed. That moment was struck by the power of energy to change lives for the better. People live happily and healthfully. That I ever imagined. 예, 오늘은 미국인들도 그렇지만 가장 걱정해야 되는 노인들의 병은 알츠하이머 디지즈다 하는 것이 핵심이겠습니다. 감사합니다.